Hey guys, what's going on? It's Dylan with Rabbit Hole Studios. I've been going through recently and organizing the entire little workshop I've got going on in my apartment. Things are slowly coming together nicely. One thing I want to focus on right now though is this thing right here. I just got the CNC machine. It's a 3018 by, what is it, SainSmart, I think. I've had it set up for a few days now, but I haven't touched it yet because I live in an upstairs apartment. I have downstairs neighbors. I know this thing is going to be loud, and I don't want to be messing with the noise in my apartment, let alone be bothering my wonderful neighbors downstairs every time I want to use this thing. So what I'm going to be doing today is making an enclosure for this thing, with the main goals being just obviously containing the mess that these things create, as well as a decent amount of noise reduction. So I've gotten all the measurements that I want for this thing. I've gone to the hardware store and gotten all the hardware I needed. Little side tangent. You know how you keep things and you hoard, spare hardware and all that kind of stuff, or scrap pieces, and you hold on to them for 6 months to a year, and then you don't use them. So then as you're like going through cleaning stuff, and then you purge stuff and just throw stuff out, then as soon as you throw it away, then you need it. Well, yeah. So I literally had everything that I bought in this bag. I had hinges, I had a handle, I had latches for the door. I had everything, and I've had it for about probably like 6 months, just kicking around. And in all the cleaning within the last month, I threw them out. Then I got this thing and needed to make an enclosure. Then I had to go back to the hardware store and spend like 30 bucks buying stuff that I literally had a month ago. So anyway, side tangent. But like I said, I got my measurements, I got my hardware, so I'm gonna go over to the shop and I'm gonna start ripping down my pieces and trying to get everything assembled. So yeah. So I just got to the shop and this is what I'm working with. Perks of sharing a shop with somebody. Yay. All right, I kind of got everything cleared out the best I can. I shimmied this over a little bit. You can kind of see where it was. That's about as much as I'm getting it. I just had to get it over enough that I could fit a full sheet of plywood through here on the table saw. You can see I've got the cord kind of maxed out for the table saw, so that's about as far as it's going, and then I just needed a little bit of room anyway. I've got the table saw set up. I've got the roller set up. I've got my fence set to where I need it. This is the plywood I'm going to be using. I actually bought this for a project a few months ago, and I ended up never using it. So it's just been sitting, and I think it'll be perfect for this. So I'm gonna get this set up and then try ripping this thing down. Yeah, so you couldn't really see in that video because it was like just out of frame, but I kept hitting my head on this bar that was going across the back of that structure there, and I was just getting so frustrated. I was like, whatever, you get it. I cut a bunch of pieces on the table saw. There's not anything super exciting about it, but anyway, so after I had everything cut, brought it into my kitchen for assembly. I would have done it in my studio in my apartment, but like I said, it's kind of a mess right now. So anyway, there's nothing really special about this. I just screwed pilot holes, and I put pocket screws because that's all I had at the time. And then I just I glued all the joints together with wood glue to kind of hopefully seal any cracks and just kind of make sure this thing was going to be nice and solid for a while. And I was pretty pleased. I was able to get some use out of these right angle clamps that I made a while ago, a few months back. I don't have them fully finished, but I mean, it was enough to actually give me, at least give me something to kind of hold these pieces somewhat square while I was getting the screws in. So that was pretty cool. Okay, so you're going to notice in the assembly video that this door doesn't actually have a cutout for it, so I forgot to do that when I was over at the shop, so I had to go back there, and I did just cut it out with a jigsaw. So anyway, got everything screwed together. I put these little feet on them off camera, and then now I'm going to run a gasket all the way around here, hopefully to kind of hold things tight and seal up any gaps that might be in the door when the thing is actually latched. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I'll go ahead and put the hinges on, handle, all that stuff, and then it'll be done. I almost forgot. I actually have to put this glass panel in here. Something like that. little clips. You screw them on like this, and they'll hold it in place. They're for like mirrors and stuff like that, but that'll work just fine for this. This is glass. It's actually a build plate for an Ender 3. I upgraded mine. This has just been sitting in the packaging. I'm not keeping it glass. I will change it to like a plexi or like an acrylic sheet or something like that. But this is the only thing that I really had at the moment, and it ended up being the perfect size. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the gasket around the edge of the glass in order to kind of keep things tight and keep things from rattling and stuff like that. You can see this has a decent amount of gap between the clip and the glass, so I'm gonna use that gasket to kind of fill the gap and keep everything nice and tight and sturdy. Right, and the last thing that I had to do is I want to put this handle right on the bottom there, and I have these two latches here that I'm going to put on both sides to really pull that door tight against the gasket there. All right, now I have one final thing to do, and that is to spin it around to the back and drill a hole going right through like the bottom of the back, and that'll allow the power cord to come through. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do a sound test. Then this is done, and then the next few videos I'll probably be doing stuff with the actual CNC. So here it is all put together. It's literally just glued together at all the joints, and then I used screws. They happen to be pocket screws. Got a latch here on each side, a regular like gate handle, and then I got these strap gate hinges. I had smaller hinges, like regular like rectangular hinges, but they were too short. You can actually see one of the holes peeking out there. The issue was I have a miter on this to allow it to close, and then because with the way that I wanted to mount the hinges. But with that bevel being there, the screws from the other one actually ended up poking through the bevel on the other side, and I really didn't like that. So I ended up getting these strap hinges that brings the screws further down and out of the way. Last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the CNC back on the counter, and I'm gonna do a sound test of this with the spindle running without the enclosure, and then I'm gonna go ahead and throw it in the enclosure, and then latch everything up and everything, and then do another sound test, and hopefully, you know, we'll see some improvement with that. All right, so I actually ended up coming back through one last time, and I added some foam to the top and then the very back. It's not actual like sound mat. It was just some like packaging that I got from work, and they were just gonna throw it out, so I just grabbed a whole stack of it. And then I went through and I did one more sound test with the foam now. So here's the CNC without the enclosure. And then here's a CNC with the enclosure with the foam.
That's all.